Uy, alam mo ba?
Ayon sa research ko,
Did you know?
Updated ka ba dun sa...
FYI, ito ang kaalaman para sa kabataan. For Youth Info, the podcast.
This podcast is brought to us by the NATCO Youth Committee and the NATCO Children and Youth Team.
Hello kabataan and hello FYI listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the For Youth Info, the FYI podcast. Maayong adlaw FYI listeners. I am Kiana Grace Camaso, Youth Committee Officer from Visayas, from the Queen City of the South, Cebu City.
Maray na hapon! I am Rachel Ducay of Gubat St. Anthony Cooperative from Gubat, Sorsogon. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. We are already on our episode 13 and if you didn't know yet, this podcast is brought to us by NATCO Children and Youth, the youth program of National Confederation of Cooperative that fosters development leadership among our young people. This program is managed by NATCO Children and Youth Team in collaboration with NATCO Youth Committee.
Welcome to FYI Podcast Episode 13, Philippine Cooperative History, where we will explore how cooperatives have shaped communities, empowered individuals, and driven social change throughout Philippine history. Cooperative societies have played a pivotal role in empowering communities across the Philippines for almost over a half century. From its humble beginnings to becoming a driving force in agricultural and economic sectors, the history of cooperatives is one of resilience, solidarity, and collective prosperity. Now join us as we uncover the successes, challenges, and enduring impact of cooperatives.
We are honored to have an expert with us today who will guide us through the history of the Philippine cooperatives and their enduring relevance today. He is currently the Development Communications Officer of NATCO, responsible for managing the publication, website, social media, and networking activities of NATCO Network. He represents NATCO before NGO groups, cooperative federations, and unions, as well as the government, including the Senate, Congress, and other agencies. Even before graduating from college, he already worked for the newspaper Manila Chronicle in 1990 as contributing writer. He later became the full-time writer and editor. He left the Manila Chronicle in 1994 to become a farmer in Marinduque. He did not know much about the cooperative at that time until 2001. He discovered cooperatives and he was invited to write some articles for a book to be published by NATCO. The articles were about the small entrepreneurs who became successful because of their cooperatives. In 2009, he joined NATCO as full-time and has since then been a fierce advocate of cooperativism. Join me in welcoming Mr. Diosdado L. Luna.
Hi
Hello,
everyone.
sir.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so to officially start, sir, we'd like to know what initially drew you to the Philippine cooperative sector. Will you share us your personal journey?
I was invited in 2001 to write some articles about testimonies of co-op members, mga small entrepreneurs to, mga farmers and vendors in Metro Manila, no, mga vendors sila, and how their cooperative was able to help them improve their business by providing them financial services. They were provided loans and they were able to grow their business. Some of them are market vendors. Umunlad ang buhay nila because of the cooperative. Generally kasi ang sentiment nila, hindi sila pinapautang ng bangko, pero pag lumapit sila sa co-op, agad sila pinapautang at umunlad ang kanilang negosyo at umunlad ang kanilang kabuhayan, ang buhay nila. So the book was about 23 years ago. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy anymore. That was how I discovered cooperatives in 2001. And then in 2009, I saw a newspaper ad that they need a development communications officer for NAPO. And I appeared for the interview. I was interviewed by Miss Emmy Santos. She was the head of member relations networking of NATCO. And she asked me, bakit ka ba nag-a-apply sa NATCO? Sabi ko, sa pagkaalam ko, ang pinaka makatarungan na paraan ng pagnenegosyo ay sa pamamagitan ng kooperatiba. And I could remember she smiled, and she looked at the other interviewers. And 2 minutes later, I was told, congratulations, you're in. 15 years later, here in 2024, I'm still with NATCO and I'm enjoying my job. I know what we're doing. We are fighting for, the cause we are fighting for is cooperativism. So that's it. That's the story.
Kami din, Sir Dado, at to share lang, no? Ako din before, wala talaga akong idea what cooperative is as an institution. Wala talaga. Kasi yung parents ko, hindi din naman sila members ng any cooperative dito sa Sorsogon. So ako, kumbaga, nalaman ko na rin lang yung co-op nung na-hire na ako dito sa amin. So maganda pa rin talaga na may kooperatiba tayo, no, sa isang komunidad. Kasi tulad nga ng sinabi niyo, Sir Dado, ang dami po talagang natutulungan din. Yung bangko halos kukunin mo talaga muna yung tiwala bago ka nila i-grant ng malalaking loans. Pero si co-op, magtitiwala siya sa'yo. Bilang member din, ibabalik din natin yung tiwala na binigay ni co-op para sa atin. How about you, Q? Before ba may idea ka na talaga what cooperative is?
Sa akin naman, I have been a member of Aflatun since I was around 10 years old and studied also in cooperative school when I was in high school kaya medyo may alam na po
Oh.
ako sa cooperative. Pero yung sa history parang wala pang masyadong alam.
Opo. Your personal story po, Sir Don, provides a valuable perspective of our conversion today. Building on this po, are there any particular figures or stories po that stand out to you, particularly influential in the development of the cooperatives in the Philippines?
Ngayon, dito sa Pilipinas, we can start with, ito personal opinion ko, no? Si Francisco Dagohoy. I'm sure you've heard of him. Sino sa inyo taga Bisaya? Francisco
You.
Dagohoy is from Bohol. And he rebelled against the Spaniards. Tumakbo sila sa bundok. And doon sila, they lived like a internal community sila lang talaga. So parang cooperative structure yung kanila. Of course, eventually, they were discovered by the Spaniards. But that was already the beginning, ano? And then in 1893, si national hero natin, si Dr. Jose Rizal, he put up a cooperative when he was exiled in Dapitan. In 1893, while in exile in Dapitan, Dr. Rizal engaged in buying and selling abaka and copra. So nag-umpisa siya as trader. And he observed that abaka in Dapitan cost only 1 peso. Tapos pag binebenta niya sa Manila, nagiging 10 pesos. Sabi niya, malaking profit talaga. And the industry was being controlled by the traders. Fortunately, while he was in Europe, he had seen how cooperatives worked. He saw how farmers sold their products not to traders but to the cooperative. So sabi niya ni Rizal, this is the kind of business that is not avaricious for making money, because this concept of cooperatives was really good. So if you will read yung history book, The Life and Works of Jose Rizal, sabi niya that Jose Rizal organized the Abaca Planters Cooperative Association in Dapitan in order to do away with the unethical competition and to establish the price of abaca. So sabi rin ni Rizal, I showed the poor inhabitants of Mindanao how to cooperate in trading in order to become independent and free themselves from the traders and thereby become less exploited. So that was a great start, di ba? Imagine national hero natin ang unang nagtayo ng kooperatiba. And then after Jose Rizal, it was Emilio Jacinto. He established a market cooperative in 1897 in San Pedro, Laguna. And then in the early 1900s, when the Americans took over the Philippines from the Spaniards, there was an American philanthropist, businessman, who was traveling all over the world and he visited the Philippines. He wrote in Outlook magazine, cooperative credit societies should be established in the Philippines to get rid of usurers and landlords who have kept the masses in continual debt slavery. So nakita niya no, na yung mga farmers talagang hawak ng mga loan sharks, ng mga 5-6. Talagang hindi sila makaahon sa kahirapan. So sabi ni Edward Filin, dapat talaga magtayo ng credit cooperative societies sa Pilipinas. This was in 1908. Medyo mabagal yung development ng Pilipinas, no? Pero later on, Teodoro Sandico, he was a Bulakenyo, and he was a member of the Philippine Legislative, and he had close contacts with cooperatives in Germany. So he prepared a bill in Congress to establish cooperatives to develop agriculture, to encourage farmers to organize themselves as cooperatives to develop their business. Unfortunately, it was turned down by Congress, so hindi siya nag-prosper. But in 1915, okay, ito na, no? The first cooperative law was enacted. It was Act 2508, regulating the creation and operations of rural agricultural cooperative associations. Hindi masyadong prosper ang co-ops, no? Kasi hawak pa rin ng mga landlords ang agriculture, saka yung mga usurers, yung mga 5-6. So after the war, marami rin namang ginawa ang government. They would put up some laws. After World War II, 1945, Commonwealth Act 713 was enacted. It was to create the National Cooperative Administration. And the 1952 Republic Act 821 created Agricultural Credit and Cooperative Financing Administration. Unfortunately, hindi masyadong nag-take off ang cooperatives no, at the time. Also, President Carlos Garcia recognized that there were also non-agriculture cooperatives, and he implemented Republic Act 2023, creating the Cooperative Administration Office. Pero nag-boost talaga ang cooperative noong 1960s because in 1960s, the Roman Catholic Church convened a Vatican Council. Tapos sabi ng Vatican Council, ang church hindi lang dapat about spirituality and religion. Dapat isama na rin natin sa ating programa ang social development. We can apply our faith into works, into everyday life. So it was in the 1960s that many of the cooperatives in the Philippines were established. Like, let's say, pag nakita mo mga kooperatiba, yung pangalan nila na Saint, kunyari, San Dionisio Credit Cooperative sa Parañaque, di ba? Ano yun? Sa parish churches yun. Dumaguete Cathedral Credit Cooperative sa Dumaguete City. St. Martin Cooperative sa St. Martin sa Bulacan. So these are cooperatives that still operate until today. And they're very successful. They're very large. They're billionaire cooperatives. They're really helping a lot of people. So yung ginawa ng Catholic Church na yun was really a major breakthrough in the history of cooperatives in the Philippines. And then also in the 60s, si President Marcos, he put up electric cooperatives. Kasi at that time, ang may kuryente lang was Metro Manila, yung Meralco and the outskirts. Pero yung mga probinsya, walang kuryente. So, nagtayo ng mga electric cooperatives in the 1960s. Unfortunately, many of them are not really doing well. So they're being taken over by private entities, private corporations. But that's another story, malayo na yun eh. But a major development in cooperatives was in 1987 when the Philippine Constitution, the 1987 Philippine Constitution was approved through a plebiscite. So it became the constitution of the country. And the word cooperatives was mentioned doon at least twice. It was a tacit recognition that cooperatives talaga makakatulong sa Pilipinas. So for the first time, nasa constitution natin. And as a result of that, kasi di ba ang pag sinabing constitution, it's a law that on which other laws are based on. You cannot make a law that is not based on the constitution. So yung 1987 constitution recognized that cooperatives are a very good solution for economic development. So as a result of that, in 1990, it was signed into law by President Corazon Aquino, yung Republic Act 6938 or the Philippine Cooperative Code of 1990. So dyan na, no? Then na-establish yung Cooperative Development Authority. And then another milestone in cooperatives was in 1998 when Co-op Natco won a seat in Congress. So for the first time, the co-op sector had a seat in Congress. Biro mo dati, nakikiusap lang tayo sa mga congressman. Congressman, pwede ba isama mo naman to sa batas para matulungan naman yung kooperatiba? But as a result of Co-op Natco now winning a seat in Congress, we can actually write our own laws and submit it to Congress. So malaking bagay yung party list law na nakatulong sa kooperatiba. Another milestone, I think, was in 2004 when Natco became a secondary cooperative. Nagbigay yung transformation journey ni Natco. Because initially, in 1977, when Natco was established, it was established by 5 federations, cooperative federations in the Philippines. Let me go through that. That's NORLU, or Northern Luzon Cooperative Development Center, Tagalog Cooperative Development Center, and then BCDC, or Bicol Cooperative Development Center, and then VICTO, Visayas Cooperative Training Center, MASPEC, or Mindanao Alliance of Self-Help Societies, and Southern Philippines Education Center for Cooperatives. So MASPEC, yan yung 5 federations na nagtayo ng NATCO noong 1977. But in 2004, they decided that NATCO would become a secondary federation so that we can deliver services directly to the primary cooperatives. And ever since then, in just 4 years, NATCO became a billionaire federation. And growth was exponential. It was really fast. And now we have NATCO. We'd like to think that we are really advancing cooperation in the country. Of course, in cooperation with other federations. So that is a short history of the co-op sector in the Philippines. I hope you found it interesting.
Yes po, sir. So, parang nasa history class na po ako.
Oo nga, hindi ko in-expect ganun pala talaga.
Nagsisimula pa lang
history.
tayo. So, doon naman po tayo sa challenges. While the cooperative movement has made significant strides, it has also faced various challenges naman po. So, what are some of the key challenges they have faced over the years po?
Nako, actually we can go on and on. No? NATCO was established in 1977 as, ang ibig sabihin ng NATCO is that the time was National Association of Training Centers for Cooperatives. So training, talagang the emphasis at the time was training or education. We all well know that education is very important, di ba? Mga Pilipino tayo, alam natin yun. Hindi nag-iiba sa kooperatiba. There was one co-op leader, si Ka Ermi ng San Dionisio Credit Cooperative. Sabi niya, all problems in the Philippines or in the Philippine cooperatives are caused by lack of cooperative education. So pag walang education ang miyembro ng kooperatiba, hindi nila mahal ang kooperatiba. Tingin lang nila sa co-op, parang utangan lang, pautangan. That's all they look. That's all they see. They don't love their co-op. But if you know the history of cooperatives, now you know why cooperatives are important. Then you will begin to love cooperatives. Training is really one of the most important things in the cooperative. Yan ang main challenge ng kooperatiba for a long time, lack of education, which we are trying to solve, trying to eliminate yung hindi nila alam kung anong kooperatiba. Pero lately, meron na ring mga challenges. Right now, one of the biggest challenges of NATCO is digitalization. For example, if you know their phone apps, pwede kang umutang, pwede kang mag-deposit, marami kang pwedeng gawin. You can even donate to planting trees, donate to charity, you can have insurance, life insurance and all. Sa ano lang, cellphone app. So, yung mangyayari niyan, your cellphone is now competing with the cooperatives. Pwedeng sa cellphone ka na lang, hindi ka na pupunta sa co-op. So, what NATCO is doing, we are offering digitalization to our cooperatives through eCoop Banker software and also Kaya mobile app and Kaya payment platform, which is available sa cellphone, pwedeng sa over-the-counter, pwedeng sa ATM. Kasi co-ops really have to be digitalized in order to keep pace with the finance industry. Otherwise, may iwanan ng kooperatiba. That is one major challenge at the moment. There are many other challenges. Right now, the Senate is drafting the new cooperative code, and we're hoping we are coordinating closely with the Senate to make sure that it will be good for cooperatives, the new cooperative code. So in summary, the challenges are lack of education, also digitalization, and legislation, the new laws about cooperatives. There are many other minor challenges, pero I think these are the major challenges at the moment. Also, number 4, a lot of co-op leaders are aging. So, kayo talaga ang pag-asa ng kooperatiba, mga kabataan. And we're reaching out to young people. We're training you to become leaders, to take the helm. We're passing the baton to you. In 10, 15 years, the current crop of leaders will be retiring. And kayo na yun. Kayo na yun.
Yan, grabe. Grabe, talagang nafi-feel namin, Sir Don, yung tiwala ninyo sa aming mga kabataan. So, ayun po, thank you so much po sa experience out sa lahat ng na-share niyo about doon. Pero going back po, Sir Don, kasi nabanggit niyo po kanina, NATCO is bringing quality trainings for the cooperative po, di ba? So, from your personal experience po, are there many cooperatives po where you live na naging successful na po? And what makes what's so special about this co-op? Bakit naging successful sila?
I would rather give a picture of the national impact of NATCO on cooperatives. It's a very common story. Yung mga kooperatiba, may mga farmers dyan, mahihirap sila. So they used to sell their kunyari, rice or corn. They used to sell it to the middleman. So yung middleman, binabarat sila. I mean, di ba? It's the common story. Ngayon, meron ding mga nag-aalaga ng baboy. Ganun din, kakatayin nila yung baboy tapos babaratin sila nung magkakarne sa palengke. So, in many instances, the farmers, nag-ambag-ambag sila, they bought a dryer. Uy, nakakapag-dry na sila ng palay. Then they can sell their palay at higher prices, but still to the trader. So, eventually, bumili na rin sila ng truck. And then they were able to sell in the market na. Hindi na sila dumadaan sa trader. And then eventually, they put up a cooperative. Ganon din yung iba, yung mga nagtitinda ng karne ng baboy, nagsawa sila, they put up a cooperative or they talk to the farmers, corn growers, sa amin nyo na ibenta yung inyong mais. So direkta na, pupunta ngayon yung mais doon sa hog growers. And eventually, they put up cooperatives and they grow. This is what happened in Cafmaco, in Cavite, in Sorosoro Ibaba, in Batangas, all right? In Lamak, in Cebu, Lamak MPC. This is the story that has happened all over the Philippines. Even Tagbak in Misamis, in Ilocos, okay, we have cooperatives there that are being helped by federations. So it's going on all over the country, and the total assets of cooperatives at the moment nationally, no, is around 500 billion. All right, it's something. It's very small compared to the banks, but I think we will grow some more. We will grow some more, and we eventually. Right now, even the transport co-ops are going to NATCO. They're trying to borrow money from NATCO, and we are supporting them. So eventually, the farmers cooperatives, transport cooperatives, natutulungan na ng federation ng NATCO. And eventually, I long for that day that the cooperatives will follow the footsteps of the European co-ops, like Mondragon in Spain, or in Sweden, or Rabobank in the Netherlands, and also in Germany, Desjardins in Canada, wherein they control finance sa kanilang lugar. Tayo sa Pilipinas, hindi pa natin kontrolado ang finance. It is still in the hands of a small group of people. According to Senator Butz Aquino, the late Senator Butz Aquino, the Philippine economy is controlled by around 500 families. So we want more Filipinos to be able to control the Philippine economy. So you and I, we will come together, put our money in the co-op. Eventually, the cooperative can really make an impact in the Philippine economy, in agriculture, in transport, in finance, in insurance, in retailing. Eventually, lahat yan will be under our control, the cooperatives. But I don't see that happening within the next 10 years. Siguro sa generation ninyo, kayo na, mangyayari yan. Pero sa panahon namin ngayon, sa aming generation, well, it would be nice if I could see that happen in my generation. But it's up to you guys to do that. So you should do well.
So, parang nakaka-pressure po talaga, no? Na kami pala yung pag-asa. Okay, so thank you po, sir. Looking back po, sir, sa mga na-mention mo kanina, di ba po na-mention niyo po yung about sa youth. So, and also, you have also talked about the future. So, what is your outlook for the future cooperatives in the country, and what role can young people like us play in shaping the future of cooperatives in the Philippines?
Okay, number 1, love your co-op. Number 1 yun.
Yeah.
Then tell others about it. And number 3, study well. Mag-aral kayo. Education is really tops. Kunyari noong 1960s, no, nagbuo ng kooperatiba yung mga tindera sa palengke, yung mga magsasaka. They were not educated. But still, they were able to grow their cooperative. Kahit wala silang alam sa accounting, wala silang alam sa marketing, wala. Pero they were able to grow their co-ops. So what more now with educated young people who will be in cooperatives? So in the end, really, number 1, love your co-op. Number 2, tell other young people about the cooperative. Number 3, take your studies seriously. Look at the movements all over the world that began. For example, Jesus Christ, ang naging disciples niya, they were not really old people. They were fishermen, they were young, pero in-educate niya, and then they went off. There were only 12 apostles. And look at what he was able to do. Diba? Nag-spread yung faith, yung gospel ni Jesus. There are many movements in the world that begin with youth. So, in your case, we hope that you will take the cooperative sector, the cooperative movement seriously. You will really be able to impact the world if you take your studies seriously and you love your cooperative and tell others about it.
That was so inspiring po, Sir Don. And kami pala talaga. Yung kabataan talaga plays really a big role for this one, for the future of our cooperative. So that's it po, and that's conclude our enlightening episode for this podcast. I really learned about the co-op po na yung co-op talaga, masasabi mo siya na hindi lang siya about doing business. Masasabi mo talagang successful yung isang co-op kapag nafi-feel hindi lang ng members niya yung co-op sa community, kundi lahat na nare-recognize kung anong nagagawa ng co-op.
I also learned that cooperative is not just something na mautangan mo lang. May sarili siyang kwento na you'll be proud to share. Because it have come so far, ika nga nila na malayo pa, pero malayo na. Malayo na narating ng co-op, sana kami rin. And as we close, remember that cooperative movements are not just about the past, they're about the future we build together. Whether you are part of a cooperative or simply curious about their impact, we hope our discussions have inspired you to explore further and perhaps even join in the cooperative movement yourself.
Thank you so much, Herdado, for joining us today and sharing your valuable insights po on Philippine cooperative sector. Your passion, the story, and your dedication, this is really important because they are truly inspiring. Thank you so much for it. It's really an honor to have you with
Thank
us
you.
today.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you to our fellow podcast host, Miss Rachel Dukay, and to our dear listeners. We'll see you next time here on For Youth Info Podcast, Kaalaman para sa Kabataan. Thank you. Thank you po, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Ardon.
Thank you.